Thank you, Chair. I rise to speak about Alderman L.W. Green, the former representative for Ithaca Ward. If you haven't heard of Alderman Green, I'd be surprised. In fact, I think everyone in this chamber is well familiar with his name, even if they're not aware of it. Having been exposed to his legacy every Tuesday for chamber sittings, Chair, keen-eyed councillors would know who Alderman Green is. In fact, every Tuesday they sit under a plaque dedicated to him. You'll note that Alderman Green was killed in action fighting for Australia in Egypt on the 1st of September 1942. That's 80 years ago this Thursday. Because of the poignancy of this moment, I felt it important to put on record some of his history and that of his unit. While it was difficult to find much information specific to Alderman Green, I can tell you the story of the 2nd 15th Battalion, of which he was a part. The 2nd 15th Infantry Battalion was raised at Red Bank in Brisbane on the 1st of May 1940 as part of the 20th Brigade. The battalion did its basic training there and then did 3 months garrison duty in Darwin. At the end of 1940, the 20th Brigade, as part of the 9th Division, sailed to the Middle East via India. It arrived at El Kantara in Egypt at the start of 1941 and moved to Palestine for desert training. They racked up some miles in March, travelling throughout the Libyan desert to the front line near Mersa Brega, including Mersa Matruh, Bugbug, Tobruk, Derna, Tokra, Benghazi, and Agadabia. The 2nd 15th moved to Gabel El Gira on the 27th of March and then Bache. German forces landed at Tripoli and were advancing eastward. It was involved in the withdrawal of British forces to Tobruk, referred to as the Benghazi Handicap. The withdrawal cost the battalion heavily. The commanding officer, second in command, and 154 men were captured at El Ghazala. The battalion moved to Hill 69 near Gaza, where it remained into 1942. In early July 1942, the Second World War in North Africa became critical for the British 8th Army, where Axis forces reached El Alamein in Egypt. Australia's 9th Division rushed from Syria to the Alamein area and held the northern sector for almost 4 months, while the British 8th Army reinforced under a new commander. The 2nd 15th remained there throughout August 1942. At this time, the atmosphere in the Middle East was tense, very tense. The Axis forces were gathering and literal storm clouds were gathering overhead. There was no doubt a battle of epic proportions was brewing. By the 23rd of August, the British staff expected that Rommel would attack in the moonlight period between the 25th of August and the 1st of September, and it had been decided that as an immediate counterstroke, a diversionary raid would be made by the 20th Brigade. At 10:20 a.m. on the 30th of August, that's 80 years ago today, Australian sentries found a British soldier who had escaped the Germans as a POW. He revealed vital information about the German defences. So it was that Operation Balimba was planned, where Australia's 2nd 15th Battalion was to launch a mini-attack against the Germans on the 1st of September. I think it's poignant that the operation was named Balimba. Not only did it have a local feel for a battalion raised at Red Bank, but it was also the name of a former Brisbane council in which a Brisbane alderman was serving. By 5:15 a.m. on the 1st of September, the infantry were out of their trucks and formed 1,000 yards ahead of their own lines and 2,500 yards from their objective. They moved off exactly on time with 2 companies forward on a 600-yard front, and they reached the outer wire of the enemy's minefield just before the artillery lifted. As a lowly private, Alderman Green would have been right on the front line, right in the face of the biting bullets and with shells exploding all around. Tragically, this was no mini-attack. The fighting was vicious, and sadly, nearly half of his battalion was listed as a casualty, wounded, killed, or captured. As an example of the ferocity, I'll read a brief passage. Corporal McLaughlin led a section that came under fire from an enemy outpost on the left. He bayoneted 3 men in this post and then, taking a submachine gun from a wounded man, attacked a second post and killed 4 of its occupants. He next attacked another post 200 yards ahead, killing 4 Germans with grenades, and then, having no ammunition left, assaulted 4 Germans using his Tommy gun as a club. One of these men attacked him, but he knocked him out with a kick and disposed of the rest with a grenade. You can see how tense the fighting was. In Operation Balimba, On the 1st of September 1942, 140 German prisoners were taken and estimated 150 were killed. The 2nd 15th Battalion lost 39 killed, 109 wounded, and 25 missing. Alderman Green was one of 183 casualties in his battalion that day. We have only one national flag, which was first flown in 1901. Through you, Chair, to Councillor Cook, you once asked if the Australian flag was a hill worth dying on. Well, Alderman Green and the other 38 Australian soldiers died on a hill for our flag and for our country. Hopefully, from this point forward, people in this place will see and appreciate the plaque on the Chamber's western wall with renewed understanding and a greater respect. I respect Alderman Green's service and I thank him for his sacrifice. Thank you, Councillor.
Mr Chair, the lighting up of council assets this week, last night and tonight, the Story Bridge, Victoria Bridge, Radcliffe Place and the Tropical Dome will be lit up blue, white and red to support Legacy Week. Legacy Week runs from the 28th of August to the 3rd of September to raise awareness and funds to support the volunteers as they care for veterans' families. And the Legacy Week appeal has been running since the 1940s. And I would also point out that as part of an arrangement that was put in place with the opening of the Legacy Way Tunnel, every year this council donates $100,000 to Legacy as part of the arrangement from the tolls in that tunnel. And so $100,000 is donated from council to Legacy, and that's part of what I believe is a great honour to be able to name the tunnel, the Legacy Way Tunnel, after that amazing organisation. And so we will continue to support them through that initiative with the $100,000 in funding, which makes a real difference in the lives of veterans' families.